All right. Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Reviews back at you this evening with a special live examination. I'm being joined by Mr. Michael Kormeroff, the beer baron in Brooklyn, New York. Good to have you here,
Hello,
Michael.
everybody. Good to see you,
And
John.
you too. And we're looking at Treehouse beers tonight, specifically barley wines. So we've got two different barley wines. Both of them are barrel aged. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'll start with you, Michael. What beer do you have?
John, thank you again for donating this to me when you were here in late September. It's Treehouse's Tree of Fire, and that's what the outside looks like. It's 11%. It's barrel aged. And there it is up there, Tree of Light. Tree of Fire. I keep saying Tree of Life, Tree of Fire. And this
that's actually another beer that they make, the Tree of Life.
Okay, yeah, this is the first time I've had a Treehouse barley wine. I've had other barley wines. I've never had one. I'm sure it'll be something I'll remember, but first time I've had one. Thank you again.
You're very welcome. So it's barrel aged and they use smoked malt, so it should be an interesting. As a matter of fact, let me I'll pull up really quick before I go into mine. Here we go. This is the website, the official website description. 11% smoked barley wine, utilizing distinct hickory smoked malt from our friends at Blue Ox in Maine, and then blended with select bourbon barrel aged barley wine barrels aged 12 to 24 months. So up to 2 years aging there. And there you go. It talks about the flavor notes, but we'll get into that and let you decide what the beer tastes like here. We've got Ian in the chat. There he is. Hi, John and Mike. Bummed I couldn't join tonight. That's okay, Ian. Thanks for watching. Hopefully, maybe next week. We're still planning on doing the Bourbon County examination. So if you're feeling a little better, you could join that one. So the beer that I've got is also from Treehouse. We're looking at another barley wine, barrel aged. This is the Thrice Baked. It is a 14.3% alcohol beer, and the description for this one on the Treehouse website is right here. And so they use the Tree of Life. There you go, Tree of Life, which is another barley wine that they make. And then they age it in second use apple brandy barrels for over a year. And then they blend it with one of their blonde barley wines, which has been aging for over 2 years in select bourbon barrels. So you've got apple brandy barrels and bourbon barrels, and it's a cuvee of two different barley wines. And then they add whole vanilla beans and cinnamon to this beer. So there's a lot going on with this one. Sounds exciting though. So I'm ready to get into it. I don't know about you, but I'm thirsty. Let's do it. Let's crack into these things and get going.
I'm always ready.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
Are you ready for your pour?
Yep, absolutely. It smells a lot like apple pie on the nose.
When you mentioned the smoke in mine, that there's a whole style of German beers called Rausch beers, which are all smoky because of the smoked malt that they use in those German beers. And this might be similar, but these are higher out. This is much higher alcohol. Those Rausch beers are usually session or a little bit more. They're not, big beers like this. Let's see. I didn't smell mine yet, but let's give it. I'm just going to get a quick nose on mine. Well, you can really smell the smoke on this.
Yeah, very smoky.
The smoke is stronger than the bourbon in mine, as far as the first smell goes. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm going to like this. I can tell.
Good. Yeah, definitely not for the faint of heart, though. If you don't like the
No,
smoked beers, this is going to be very offensive to you because it is like, very in your face with the smoke is how I remember it. So,
well, at
what
least
else
this
are
is
you
something
getting
you've
there?
had. So let's
I
see.
have had that one a handful of times. It's one of the beers that they pretty much always have bottles available. That was a 10 $11. It was like $11 for the bottle, so pretty reasonably priced too for an 11% barrel aged barley wine, I think.
And like you said, 12 to 24 months. It's not like you look at some of these other companies that do it for 6 months and stuff. And this
Right.
is a long barrel aged process.
Absolutely, yeah. So
I'm
you
getting
are getting
underneath the smoke. Underneath the smoke, I can get a little bit of the bourbon, a little bit of the kind of oaky thing. But the smoke is the lead, definitely the lead smell I'm getting. The nose is mostly smoke.
right.
There's underlying. I'm sure that I'll get other things in the taste, but I have a feeling from the nose that the taste is going to be lead by the smoke too. I can
Right.
tell.
All right. So on mine, I'm definitely getting the apple brandy barrels, a little bit of bourbon, like some caramel toffee, oak. There's a lot of like dark fruit going on as well on the nose. Maybe a touch of the cinnamon as well. They did say whole vanilla bean and cinnamon. I think I'm getting a touch of the cinnamon on the nose as well. It kind of comes together and smells a lot like apple pie. You got the apple brandy barrels and the cinnamon added and vanilla, so it smells like a lot like apple pie. And of course the dark fruit and the bourbon is there as well. But it's really um, a really nice aroma, and it doesn't smell super boozy. I mean, you can tell that it's barrel aged, but it's
Because
very
it's,
very
I was going to
pleasant
say,
with that apple.
at over 14%. The fact that it doesn't smell boozy is a good sign of how well it's brewed.
Yeah, really. If you like apple pie, you're gonna love the way this beer smells because it's very reminiscent of apple pie. We've got Josh in the chat. Last beer, cheers. He picked up a triple barrel black barley wine by Anchorage Brewing for $55. Wow.
$55. Wow, that's
I
a
hope that's a.
pricey barley wine.
I hope that's one of those big bottles at least for that price. My gosh. Yeah, I've heard about that Anchorage Brewing. They make some pretty good stuff, but I don't think we get any of their beers here. I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen any here either.
Okay.
But Josh
Well,
has access to a lot of beers. He seems to
he
be able to
does.
come up with
He's
some.
Virginia, not too far from DC. There's a lot of a lot of offerings there. He gets a lot of beers too that I think are kind of under the table, like these, like Treehouse, for example, and some of these breweries that don't, like Trillium, that don't really distribute.
Right,
But
right,
there's people making beer
right.
runs down there to his area.
And he's close
So,
enough to go to the other half that's in DC also if he wants. There's a
oh, that's
big
right.
other
I
half
forget.
down
I
there.
always forget they have a location there. All right. Well, Michael, I'm going to let you start
Okay.
since you've never
Okay.
had.
So this is what there's a fully 12-ounce pour. And if you notice at the top, you're getting a small but still nice khaki head and some very nice lacing at the top. So, you can see its quality. Let me take my sip.
Cheers, Michael.
Wow. It's almost like you're sitting over a bonfire and you're drinking your beer because your lead taste is just the smoke. You're getting the smoke. But it's funny, you're getting it in a nice way, though, because it's opposite the bourbon barrels. The smoke is smooth. It's not coming in like it's a negative thing. It's a positive thing. This is really good. Really good. Well, like I said, I do like smoky beer. So for me, something like this is right up my alley. Really nice. I'm trying to think if I can get any other flavors beside I'm getting some of the barrel. I'm getting a little bit of oakiness. But what you said before, John, if you don't like smokiness in your beer, stay away from this, because that's definitely the predominant taste. But it's very well done. I mean, I really, I see why it's Tree of Fire.
Right. Sorry, my internet connection kind of went out there for a second, so I missed some of what you said there. But
I just said I can see why somebody who does not like smokiness would not like this beer, because it is such a predominant taste that it's, in my case, it's in a good way. I do like it. It's not boozy tasting either, although you can tell that it's, this is not session. I mean, you're getting the you're getting the barrel aging in the taste as well. It's really good.
I'm glad.
Really good. No, I'm impressed with this.
It's such
different.
It's such a unique beer that you don't see a lot of smoked barley wines. Like, that's not something, when you think of barley wine, you don't think of a smoked beer.
No. Like I mentioned before, in the Rausch beers in Germany, they're going to be lower alcohol. They're not going to be Rausch barley wines. It's a Rausch beer, but they, 6%, 5.5%. They're not going to be 11%. And this is an unusual combination, but I like it.
Yeah, Ian says definitely one to share with friends. Absolutely. And
Alex is there.
The beer master. Cheers to you, Alex. All right. Well, I'm dying to get into mine, so I'll go ahead and pull myself up really quick. Cheers. Let's do it.
Cheers, John.
Wow. So initially, you get the apple pie type notes, but immediately after that, you get the bourbon barrel. So I guess the apple brandy and the bourbon barrel are both coming through really nicely. In the middle of the sip, it's slightly roasty from the roasted malt, but a ton of dark fruit. I'm getting like fig, plum, raisin, just a lot of dark fruit notes. Really, really enjoyable. Super smooth. I mean, you can tell that it's not a lightweight beer. You can tell that it's elevated in the alcohol department, but it is so smooth. The cinnamon's there. The vanilla kind of comes in on the back end too, getting some oak from the bourbon barrels as well. I mean, I'm blown away. This is fantastic.
Is this the first time you've had this specific beer, or you've had this before?
I honestly don't remember. I've had so many barley wines from Treehouse. I don't think so. They have another apple barley wine, but I think this one is double barrel. So I think I've had the original single barrel. This is double barrel. So I think with the addition of the bourbon barrel, I've had the apple brandy barrel aged one, but this one is apple brandy barrels and bourbon. So I think this is my first time with this one.
Sounds amazing.
It's fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic. I mean, Treehouse never ceases to, impress me. I'm glad I got to visit with you and share some Treehouse beers because, more people that really like craft beer, I mean, they don't understand what they're missing out on with some of these Treehouse beers. I mean, they're absolutely incredible. This is one of the best barley wines I've probably ever had. I mean, it's right up there with like the Bourbon County barley wine that I had years ago. Some of the other Treehouse barley wines, like the one you're drinking, are really high up on my list. It's just it's amazing that they have, they don't distribute, but they have so many locations now in such capacity that they have all of this room to sit all of these bottles on shelves, or or these have all these barrels just sitting around for years. I mean, we're talking about 2 years in apple brandy barrels, 1 year in bourbon barrels. Your beer was aged anywhere from 12 to 24 months. So
Right.
like, it's impressive. They go over and beyond with the barrel aged beers that they have, and they age them much longer than your typical barrel aged products from other breweries. And it really
Right.
shows in the quality of the beer, I think.
No question. And this smoky beer that I'm drinking, this barley wine, is amazing only because they've been able to integrate that smokiness into it so well. And I like it because I like smoky beers. But anybody who likes barley wines would relish the fact they've been able to integrate it so well. Mine's smooth also. You mentioned smoothness in yours. Mine is too.
Right. How's the carbonation? Do you notice any carbonation?
The carbonation is fine. I would say the carbonation is medium for a beer that's 11%. Very drinkable. Now, the reason you can't say you have to be careful with this one compared to other things, it hasn't hid the alcohol to the point that you think it's a session or a little more. You can tell this is a big beer. But I think part of that's impossible to hide it when it starts getting up. Yours is over 14, mine's 11.
Right.
So the alcohol's there, but it's it's very balanced too. Alex is saying he loves smoky beers. He definitely would like this.
Yeah. Yeah, Alex, one of these you'll have to get on and enjoy it. We're doing Bourbon County, I think, next Tuesday. Any Bourbon County, if you want to come hang out and drink a beer with us, Michael and I will be doing that next week.
And I'll be doing a 2016. So it's going to be interesting. The 2017 that my friend brought to the last beer tasting was really, it didn't come in first. It came in third, but it still was in pretty good shape. They tell you only 5 years, but he gave it to me as a gift when he left. And thank you very much, because I like trying some of these. I didn't cellar it personally, but he bought it a place. He found a place that had 16s and 17s that they were selling. And they didn't have them marked down at bargain prices either. He still ended up paying. He didn't tell me because I didn't ask the price, but
Right.
It wasn't. We're trying to get rid of it because I guess they realize somebody will eventually buy it anyway.
They knew that the market's there for craft beer people that want aged beers like that. There's definitely a pretty big market. So.
But it's on the edge because if they're only recommending 5 years, that means after 2021, they're not guaranteeing that you're going to get top performance. Right. I'll take my chances. Is how
I think. I think the odds are in your favor with Bourbon County. I think you'll be fine.
No, because again, it's what's in it. They're a little bit gun shy because remember the problem they had in 15 when they had some of the beer that was came out was soured and they had to return it and it wasn't perfect. So they started pasteurizing the bottles. And I guess after that they want to give you a duration time because they don't want people to cellar it indefinitely. I guess.
Right. Yeah. Well, they don't want to be responsible for bad beer after 5 years. Like, we can guarantee a good product for 5 years, but after that, it's up in the air. But
well, I do have those two Brooklyn ones. What's the Brooklyn one called? The Brooklyn one with the
is it the
Black
Black Ops?
I always forget. Black Ops. I still have the two bottles,
okay.
The 25 from 2016. So that's as old as the other one. I think if this one does not turn out as well, I will have those because you can't just, that's 10 years or it's almost 10 years.
Yeah.
You can't just push, forever. But again, that's lower alcohol too. That's only, I think, 11%, where the Bourbon County is 13.6, I think. The 2016. I think.
Okay.
I think. Have you had any 16s ever? Do you remember if you got the straight Bourbon County Stout in that year? It's the first year after their problem.
I had a 2016, but it wasn't the original. It was the blueberry almond one, and it was like 12%. That was back in Georgia, and I guess I would have been able to get the regular Bourbon
Right.
County for
I'm,
that
I'm
year.
pretty sure I looked at it. I looked at it fast. Maybe it could be over 14, and I misread it. You'll know on Tuesday when I come. I'll look at it again. Maybe it could be over 14%. It's possible it is over 14. Some of the earlier ones were over 14. Ian has some black ops, and he might have some backage. So actually, I don't know. You probably can't get one. I wish you could get a 2016, and then we could come on and do one of those. That would be hard to find.
If I ever see a Black Ops, any of the Black Ops from years past, I would jump all over that.
And I'm not as thrilled with the ones they're canning now with the Four Roses. There's a 16-ounce cans now. They're present Black Ops. They're not as good as the ones before. I mean, they're not using the champagne yeast anymore. It's just a straight Four Roses aging. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not as good as anything that we drink normally in our.
Something about the Black Ops, those big bottles with the cork and wasn't it a cork and cage on there too, or did that?
Yes, it has the cork and cage on it too.
Yeah, it was just something about those bottles. It was fantastic. Alex might be joining us next week. He says he does have Bourbon County. He might try to get another variant of it. And then he's talking about Bourbon County. Now, you can age the Bourbon County, Alex, as long as you want, but you're taking a risk if you age it for much longer, over 5 years, just because they don't recommend the Bourbon County people recommend, or at least they list it on the label, ages for up to 5 years in the bottle. So, but we both know people that have had much older years. I think the oldest Bourbon County I had was 4 or 5 years old. It wasn't over the limit, but it was right at it, and it was fantastic. So I think anything 2016 up to present day, I think you're going to be okay.
If you get people, though, you have like two sides to the argument. You get people who like to drink all these bourbon barrel stouts fresh rather than cellar them, and they go with it that way, and that's one side. And then you have the cellaring group who says maybe some of the flavors will get stronger if you cellar it, but it could cause other flavors to fade. So you're getting two sides to the argument.
Right.
I like cellaring. I like the idea of cellaring, but
I do too. And typically, I think we're kind of on the same page with it. Typically, when you cellar, particularly Bourbon County, it brings out the barrel notes a little bit more, because some of the roasted malt, and especially with the variants, so they have some of the additives, they may fade a little bit. But I find that barrel-aged beers, typically the longer you age them, the more the barrel presence comes through, which for people like us who love barrel-aged anything, I mean, that's a major plus. But some people may not like the heavier barrel notes, so they want to drink the beer fresh so that they kind of have a little bit more balance. But I like a bourbon-heavy barley wine, a bourbon-heavy stout. Like I'd rather there be more bourbon. So by aging it, you get a little bit more of those bourbon notes. Typically, in my experience at least, they come through a little bit more as the beer gets older.
Did you notice Ian just said he has one of the Sam Adams 13th Hour? That was the one from the original beer tasting I had with Doug and Jay when he came up in 2015.
That was that one, and the Stony, I think it was called Stony Brook Red. It was a red ale from the same series there, the barrel-aged collection from Sam Adams, which, outstanding beers. It's too bad that they don't still produce those beers. They were really, really good.
They've become over-commercialized. It's sad, but they've gotten to the point now where if Sam 76 is what they use as their, and I think they're phasing it out and they changed the formulation again. Why don't they just do away with it? It's not a successful beer. Accept it and you make a mistake, and that's it. I used to not buy mix packs because they made you buy 6 of them. If you bought it 20, I wouldn't buy it. I don't care what.
Now they have a new. Have you seen the commercials for the new Sam Adams beer? It's called American Light. Sam Adams American Light.
Is that new?
It's new. I've seen that. It's their new light beer. I don't know how much different it is from their old light beer, but I have a feeling it's not too different than the infamous 76 that we both did not
It
care
was
for.
it was awful.
Water,
It
hop
was
water.
almost hard to drink. That's how bad it was.
Hot water. You might as well drink a Perrier,
No,
mineral water or something.
I mean, I'm not bashing Sam Adams, because Sam Adams over the years has been a quality company. And again, Ian saying it's awful. It is awful, but if you're somebody who used to buy even a 12-pack and they gave you 3 of those and you were so turned off you're not going to buy it, that's it. So I'm not, I learned my lesson, and hopefully they'll get better. The problem is when you get so big, sometimes you figure your numbers just take you in and you're going to make enough money you don't care.
Right.
Anyway, getting back to this.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex has a 2023 CBS. That's right. Founders did bring back the CBS, I guess last year. It was discontinued, I think 2020 or 2021, 2 or 3 years not making it. And then they finally brought it back, but I think you can only get it now in the 12-ounce bottles. They sell 4 packs of 12-ounce bottles. You used to be able to get the big bomber bottles back in the day. But
right. I have some KBS that I've been sitting on, big bottle, and some small ones of the chocolate.
You don't have that big bottle of the CBS that you got at the.
No, I ended up using it for something, maybe in a beer tasting.
Okay.
Okay.
Back to Treehouse. Yeah.
The smokiness is continuing. So the smokiness does not go away. And like I've been saying, as it gets warmer, it's still staying very balanced. And you do get the bourbon barrel on it. You do get the oakiness. I'm not getting any other flavors, though.
Yeah. It's a pretty simple, pretty straightforward, I find, that particular barley wine. I feel like when I had it, and it's been a while, but I feel like once you kind of cut through the smoke, the more you sip on it, you get some like dark fruit notes that kind of start to come through. You're not getting any dark fruit?
Not yet, but again, we're still only talking about being in this 27 minutes, and we didn't start drinking it probably for 5 or 6, so maybe it'll take a little bit longer. And the beer is still cold.
Yeah, I was going to say, as these beers warm up, that they really start to develop. These barrel-aged barley wines, they only get better as they sit out at room temperature. So
yours definitely is more complex than mine. In other words, you have more flavor combinations than mine.
Well, it should. I mean, for what they're going for with this beer, with the cinnamon, the vanilla, the 2 different types of barrels and all of that. I mean, that's to be expected. But one thing about your beer that's so great is it's simplistic. The smoke is really
Audrey's coming over to say hello, John.
Oh,
hello.
Hi, Audrey. How are you?
Where's Ian?
Ian is ill.
I know, his collarbone.
Yeah, he's been coming on, making comments, but he hasn't been. You can say hi to Ian too.
Have fun. Hi, Ian.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Do you want to taste it before you go in, Audrey?
I know it's something I like. Right?
Well, do you like smoke? We'll see what Audrey thinks.
This would be interesting. Yeah, she likes it.
Very chocolatey. High alcohol.
Love it.
Nice.
She's getting some chocolate, which I didn't get.
Interesting. All right. Ian says hi, Audrey.
Ian said hello.
Tell him to heal quickly.
She says he should heal quickly. I'm still not getting chocolate, but everybody's taste buds are different.
Yeah.
It's excellent though, John. This is world class.
Yeah. Same here with mine. I'm debating between a 98 and a 99, but it's definitely gonna be up there.
The Treehouse stuff generally is in the high 90s all the time. I haven't had any that were lower than I think like 95 or 96, and it was maybe that I didn't like the style as much. More, not that the beer wasn't, really top edge stuff.
Right. Do you still have a few Treehouse left?
I still have. Do you remember the one that you gave me a whole 6-pack of that was oak? It was like an oak.
The lager.
Yeah, I still have one of those,
Okay.
and I still have more of the other stuff that's in the refrigerator. I haven't tried the big bottle of that honey one, Amstead. What was the one from Vermont that you gave?
Oh,
You
the
gave me
Hill
one.
the Hill
Hill's
Farmstead.
I still have
Yeah.
that big bottle too. So I still have some of the stuff you gave me. Have you finished all the stuff I gave you? Or do you still have
I
loose
did.
bottles? Okay, good.
No, they're all gone.
You seem to give good reviews. I watch your reviews all the time, but I watch the reviews of those beers. For the most part, you seem to like them, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
made me feel better.
I really liked. One of my favorite ones was that Jade Scorpion, just that peppercorn, that green peppercorn beer. That was fantastic,
and it was different, something you didn't get in other beers.
And then the Three Floyds? Their stuff was.
Yeah, because it was Three Floyds. You hadn't seen their IPAs. It was a bunch. It was like 3 or 4 different Three Floyds
those
IPAs.
Were really good. Yeah, those were really good, and they're kind of a nice change of pace from like the double juicy New England. Like they were kind of a little hazy, but a little bit more bitter, like more traditional type IPAs. So.
Right.
But they were all really good. Yeah. I mean, you have good taste in beer, so I wasn't too worried that they were gonna, they weren't gonna.
I'm willing to try anything once, and if I do like the company and I see it again, I'm willing to try it again. There's Drunken One.
Drunken One's in the chat. Cheers, Dio. And yeah, legendary Drunken One. Yes, sir, Alex. All right. Yeah, I think
I'm gonna keep sticking.
I think the barrel notes are coming through more. The beer's warmed up a little bit. The apple comes through.
I'm getting
more
some
too.
of the dark fruit. Apple for you, okay. I'm getting some of the dark fruit you suggested now too.
There you go. Okay.
I'm not sure what it is. It could be fig. It could be date. It could be something else. Let's see.
Yeah, raisin, date, fig. They're all kind of in the same, same boat there.
It's wonderful.
Well, I'm glad you really like it as much as I did. That was
it's really good. I mean, it's different, but it's really good, and something which, I mean, you're not gonna pack away 2 of these consecutively. You have one as a specialty kind of thing, and then you'd save it and have it another time. Get another bottle of it and save it. And I wonder do you think something like this would do well cellaring? It's 11%, so right away there.
I would be interested to, it's a beer that I can get regularly, so maybe I'll try to cellar a bottle. I've never had a smoky beer like that and aged it, so I wonder, would the smoke fade over time?
There's no way in this beer the smokiness can fade. Maybe it could get less, but
maybe tame it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know.
It might tame it down, but it's so intensely smoky that it can't go away, because that's the core of the beer. I think it'd be interesting if you go back to Treehouse. Can you get this? Can you get this as a regular thing?
Yep, it is one of the Barleywines that they always have bottles of it, and I don't know if that's because they made a lot of it a couple years ago. I mean, they've had it out for a few years, so I don't know if it's just that they made a ton of it and they can't get rid of it, or if it had such a good reception that they just keep it in their regular Barleywine lineup. But Treehouse is really, they usually always have 2 or 3 Barleywines available. It's one of the underrated styles that because everybody rants and raves about the IPAs that Treehouse makes. A lot of people don't realize that their barrel-aged barley wines and stouts are just as good. I mean, outstanding.
Right.
And they're lager. I mean, every style they do.
It's all really good. Everything that you turned me on to, I didn't have anything that was bad. Some of it I like the style better, but again, it's like anything else. What I was going to ask you, and this shows you my memory, maybe when you went with Bumpy to Smutty Nose and you had some Smut Lab things, was that a barley wine?
So I bought a 2015 bottle. Bumpy and I both bought 2015 bottles. Not the Smut Labs. It was the Smutty Nose. It was their 2015 wheat wine, and it was
Oh, it was wheat wine.
fantastic. Which wheat wine,
Okay.
barley wine, same type of deal. It was fantastic. The problem is after the buyout.
Yeah, they've gone downhill. Unfortunately,
they don't have a
It's
barrel
sad.
program. They don't have a barrel program anymore. I think the Smut Labs, which was their experimental lineup, I think they discontinued that. So they're pretty much just they have like the old Brown Dog, which is their brown ale. That's
They're
their
living
staple
off
beer.
their old stable beers that they have
Yeah.
from their,
So,
whatever.
they
And
have
that's the sad thing. When a company sometimes, and I'll say the same thing about 6 Point. Wouldn't it be great if we could get some of their old, barrel aged stuff that they made? But they're just into their baseline now. I haven't seen any weird 6 Point stuff anymore either.
And you can tell, the thing that gets me with Smutty Nose and other breweries, I don't know if 6 Point, I can't remember who bought them or who they
artisanal Ventures, which also own Southern Tier and Victory.
Okay.
They have all three of them.
And Victory,
and they also make one other, not a beer product. They have another line of it from another company as well.
Okay. So the thing with Smutty Nose is they were bought out by a company that's not even another brewery. They were bought out by these entrepreneurs that like were in business for something completely unrelated to beer. And so when they were, the people that bought Smutty Nose, they're not even beer people. And it shows in the quality of the beer. They really, I guess they look at things from a business side, but they didn't keep up with the beer. I don't know if they got rid of the original brewers or whatever, but yeah, they don't even try to make anything outside of the standard like mass appeal type stuff now. So
now they also acquired, and one of the ones I gave you was from them, something from Sloop. I gave you one can of Sloop. I don't know if you remember it or not. That whole group, it was what's it called? A New England style, not of the same quality level as your Treehouse or Trilly Brother half, but very good. And they acquired them, the conglomerate that bought Smutty Nose, because now they're brewed in Hampton, which is, I think, the brewery that they still have in New Hampshire. Right. How far is that away from Bumpy? How far is Bumpy from Hampton?
From that brewery, probably half an hour or so. The best thing about Smutty Nose, the location is right down the street from a much better brewery, Throwback Brewery, which is in Southampton or Northampton. I can't remember, but it's like
I've heard of that.
Drive.
And they make good IPAs, right? They make good IPAs too.
They do. They're most famous, I think, for their spicy Bohemian Pilsner. It's a Pilsner.
They make a good Pilsner
with jalapenos in it. They grow their own vegetables, and they have it's a huge on a farm, and they grow a lot of peppers. So they incorporate different peppers. They have like an ancho chili porter. They have the jalapeno Pilsner. They have some really good beers with the pepper in there. And it's that spicy Bohemian Pilsner from Throwback is like one of my favorite Pilsners of all time. It's a fantastic beer. Which I don't know if I left you one of those or not. I can't remember if I gave you a Throwback. Does that ring a bell? Did you have one of those?
I can't remember if you gave me one or not. I don't think so though.
Okay.
You gave me a lot of stuff from Treehouse though, like a ton. If you think about it, between the IPAs that you gave me and the barley wines that are in the other refrigerator. Because you remember I had two refrigerators, one in each room, and the bottom still has some of the stuff you gave me that I still haven't tried yet. But most of the ones are high alcohol, so I figured I could sit on them, and that's in that refrigerator. I guess they're cellaring, even though they're not in a separate location. Keeping them cold, I think, is a good way to cellar them anyway.
I feel like I feel like they'll cellar for longer if you keep them, at a cooler temperature. If you let them sit out at room temperature for too long, I feel like they're more likely to kind of turn on you.
It can definitely happen. Are you getting any other taste now that it's been sitting around longer?
I don't, not so much additional flavors, but I notice the intensity of the apple pie flavors are increasing. I think maybe the cinnamon spice is coming through more.
Because I
The
was going to
brandy
say
barrel.
the smokiness in mine is not as strong as it was at the beginning, which I think is interesting. In other words, it's not faded. Don't get me wrong.
You know what my theory on that is that it is just as intense as when you first started, but you kind of get used to the smokiness the more you drink it, and it starts letting your palate starts detecting some of those underlying flavors. Because I noticed that too when I had it. Like the first 2 or 3 sips, all smoke, very in your face with the smoke, pleasant and smooth, but very smoky. And then sip 5, sip 6. As you get into the later sips, it kind of the smoke is your tongue and palate adjust to it, and you start picking up on those other flavors.
But anybody who likes Rausch beers and doesn't mind high alcohol beers, this is something they should get a hold of, because it's a different feeling that you otherwise can't get. This may be the only beer like this that's made.
Yeah, it's so unique. I cannot think of another beer. I've definitely never had another smoked barley wine. Like breweries don't do that with that style. It's an unconventional. It's not normal practice to smoke a barley wine. So it's definitely in a class of its own with that. But I feel like they just hit the nail on the head, the jackpot with it. They either got really lucky, or they got some really badass brewers that were like, you know what, this would be good. And
as long as you like smoke, this seems like a natural beer for you too. I mean, you have to like that smoke taste. If you do, it's one you definitely like.
Ian's been to Throwback when he was working in New Hampshire. It's a really good brewery, and they have good food there too. They do like a lot of Polish type food, pierogies and like sausages and sauerkraut, stuff like that. Really, really good food. Tanner, really quick, I'll just pull this up. He was talking about, he's been doing some home brewing, so he got I guess another brewing kit, electric brewing kit. Interesting.
Sounds interesting. All right.
Well, Tanner, we don't live too far apart. Next time we hang out, you have to brew something nice, and we'll try some of your home brews.
He's in Rhode Island. He's in Rhode Island, right? That's not that far from you.
He's right outside of Providence, I think. Yeah, we met up at one of the breweries in Providence, Rhode Island, the Proclamation Brewery, which is not too far from where he lives. And then we met up again, the Vermont,
Eric and the rest of the group when
the beer man bumped me.
Beer Man flew in.
Exactly. Yeah, we met up there, and I got to try one of his home brews in Vermont when we all shared one of his home brews and reviewed it on somebody's channel. Yeah. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I'll happily drink any beer that you want to brew and give me, Tanner. Oh, yeah, this beer, we can keep talking about it and everything, but it's a 99.
You ready with a number?
It's a 99 all day. It's fantastic. It's world class. The only reason I'm not giving it 100 is because I've had like the Smutty Nose Wheat Wine 2015 was probably slightly better. The barley wine from Bourbon County from 2015 or 2016 that I had was really just outstanding as well. But those had 2 or 3 years age on them when I drank it. This is still fresh. This is this year. So maybe this would go up to 100 if I cellared it for a year or two. I mean,
so maybe you should get another one. Get another one of those and cellar that and try that too. Maybe it will get better.
I should. The problem I have with cellaring stuff is space. I have a small refrigerator out here. I don't trust leaving beers like this in the inside fridge or the fridge in the garage because of the high traffic, and I feel like it's not something will get pushed back into it. It'll break, or I need like a dedicated cellar
understand.
space, and I just don't have one. So
Well, I have downstairs now a couple of boxes. I don't know if I
you
showed them
have
to
a
you. I
lot
think
more
I
space.
had
You
them.
have a
So I have a lot. And it's funny, we're cleaning up down there because Audrey's going to get her sewing room back. So I have to get rid of. If you remember, that room was full of a lot of clutter. So I have to get rid of some of the stuff that's there. But I have 2 boxes. I keep my Bourbon County there. I keep some of my other stuff, and I'm sewing plus the stuff that's in the refrigerator. So I have a lot of space. I don't want to move. I have a cellar too, but I don't want to move the stuff into the cellar because the cellar is colder. And cold is probably okay. It's just that it's not constantly the same temperature. So if you can't control the cold, the fluctuation might not be good. Where in the house, the temperature, in the wintertime, it's not exactly like it's going to be a solid. I think we have the thing on 70 degrees, but it doesn't keep 70 degrees, because downstairs is colder than upstairs. Heat rises. He's going to get a large wine fridge, and that's perfect. That's the way to. That's the way to do it.
Wine fridge is perfect for cellaring beer because you can control the exact temperature. I think they say for cellaring, like between 48 and 52 degrees or somewhere in that range.
It's supposed to be definitely on the colder side, but not cold. Because a regular refrigerator is like 38, and that might be too cold.
Right.
The refrigerator I have down there in that thing definitely is an older refrigerator. It's probably more in the 40s, but it could be 38. I mean, whatever. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm getting. Like I told you, I agree with you that the smokiness, maybe it's the fact I've had many sips. It doesn't seem as strong. My body's used to it.
What about like sweetness, like vanilla or anything like that? Any type of sweetness in there?
I was thinking that sweetness was from the bourbon, but maybe it could be from vanilla too. I'm definitely getting the bourbon now more than I did before.
Right. See, it says, I'm looking at their website again, and it does. They don't add vanilla to it, but it says chewy molasses cookies with a hint of vanilla-soaked bourbon on the finish. And then it says,
so I'm probably getting some
undercurrents of milk chocolate. Audrey said she was getting chocolate. It does say milk chocolate. Not that it was added to that, but they're just saying that these are official tasting notes from the Treehouse website. So
So maybe what I thought was bourbon could be vanilla too. In other words, I thought the sweetness. I saw the original thing. I didn't read into it, but maybe it is vanilla. So this is what I have left. It's certainly more than a sip, but it's wonderful. All right, John, I'm ready with my number. I'm giving mine a 98. I'm not going, in other words, the difference between us is you will give 100 and I won't. So I'm going one below my all-time high. And I probably have had, I think if I'm not mistaken, I've had a Bourbon County wheat wine that was better than this, that I gave a 99 to. There were some years when they made a wheat wine and it was off the charts. It was because
I had their 2015 wheat wine, which was I remember it like it was yesterday. I bought it in New Orleans when I went down to visit Rontario. It was 15.2%, I believe. It was very high ABV and very delicious. It was like, just outstanding. Like Werther's original caramel candy, like really sweet and malty and bourbon, of course, bourbon barrel aged. So it was fantastic.
And the alcohol was muted.
Right.
It still was in.
Right.
Our connection. We're back. Okay. What I was going to say also, after we do finish this, I have a show and tell for you.
Okay.
So Bumpy is joining. About this. Are you ready for show and tell?
Yeah, go for it. Cheers to Bumpy, who's
I'm
going
to show you what I got yesterday at Costco.
Okay.
Costco, you have to buy 24. This is one of the things that was in it. This is their hazy cosmic little thing. at
Interesting.
as 8%. So this is a double IPA, hazy IPA, but it's not hazy like Treehouse. In other words, this is mass market. Sierra Nevada is definitely craft, but it's not to the level where you can't see through it. In other words, you can actually, when you pour it, it's hazy, but if you put your hand up against it, you can still mildly see it. It's not, the other juicy ones can cover your hand altogether where you can't see that it's, so I would call this like a cloudy hazy more than a straight hazy. So, okay, so that was one. You remember the original Torpedo, which was 7.2. This is their atomic torpedo at 9.2.
Oh wow!
So this is like a triple IPA.
Wow.
Do you have Costco's by you? You have Costco, or you don't? You're not a member.
We do. No, Caitlin and I are Costco members. We go there about once a month. Yeah, about once a month.
Do you look at their beer? You look at their beer when you're there?
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
That's where I got. Well, actually, it was a gift, but they sell the Christmas, the Advent, the beer Advent calendars every year. Where and I got one.
And you got it. That's a nice gift. That's a nice gift to get. There are a lot of beers in that one too.
Yeah, 24 different beers. Yeah, it's nice.
This was new to me. It's called Hop Tonight.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
As far as I'm concerned, it's new because 7.5% double.
So Sierra Nevada's putting out a couple of new beers because I think that Atomic Torpedo is pretty new too. I've never heard of that either.
And the last one, I'd had the original, but this is the amped up version of Hot Bullet. Hot Bullet Magnum Edition.
Oh wow.
9.5%. I've had the straight Hot Bullet, whatever it is. I can't.
So those are all pretty high ABV beer. What did you pay for the 24 pack?
$20 for 24 cans, 83 cents a can. I don't know how you can go wrong.
I don't know. That's an insane deal, and they're all high alcohol beers too.
They're all high alcohol, and they're all just 2 months old. So Costco is good for getting fairly fresh beer too. So you figure on an alcohol, these kind of beers, 2 months old should be fine. I mean,
right.
And I end up giving a lot of it away. I give some to my son-in-law, Chris. I'll give some to another one of my beer friends. We make trades and whatever. So, because I can't drink a whole case of this by myself. It would take me, because I drink other stuff too. So, it's not whatever. But can you beat 83 cents a can for quality craft beer?
Beer? Yeah. No, not at all. That's insane. Drunken One says the Atomic version sucks.
I haven't tried it yet. It may suck. He may be right. It's possible. Anytime you buy any beer, there's a chance it won't be good. So
maybe by Tuesday you'll have tried one and you can let the viewers know.
The one I had last night, which the first one that I showed on my scale, I gave an 8 out of 10. So I said it was what's above average. So that would be an 8 out of 10 for me would be like an A-.
Okay.
But it's for what it is. I'm not comparing it with, your Treehouse, your Trillium, or your other half, which are ones that would get, 9, 8.75s, whatever it would be.
Right.
So I gave that a straight 8. We'll see. I'll try the other one, and maybe I'll feel the same way that Drunken One feels. I may not like it. It's possible.
Did the variety pack have any of the other, you've got the cosmic thing, you've got the hazy little thing, you've got the hazy big thing, you've got the, they have that lineup, they have probably 9 or 10 of them now. There's a bunch of the tropical little.
Besides this one, there's also a dank one, and there's 2. I think there are 3 different ones that are all, like hazy, a dank one and something else. So there's a whole series. But this one, it's funny, when I bought it, I didn't even look at the alcohol. I bought it because it was a good price, and I'd never had the Hop Tonight before. I figured I'm trying a new beer.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'd never had these high alcohol.
What says that the Atomic one tastes like plastic. All right.
John, he's drunk in one, so it's cool with me.
Yeah. I don't know if he doesn't like it, that might be a problem because he likes pretty much all beers, so it must be pretty bad.
I will give it a shot for sure.
Bumpy
and
says Sam's Club has an Irish pub mix, 5 Smithwick's red ales, 5 Guinness, and 5 Harp lagers for $28. Not worth it. Yeah, 5, so 5, 10,
15,
so it's a
15
it's a
beers.
15 pack for $28.
and
And those are all
11.2 ounces, so they're the smaller
and low
smaller
ABV.
bottles.
I mean, Guinness is 4.2, Smithwick's maybe 4.8 or 5, and Harp is like 4.7, 4.8. So low ABV beers, 15 of them for $28. So that just goes to show you how good of a deal your variety pack was.
Now there are people who don't like John. There are people who don't like Sierra Nevada, so they should steer clear of it. If there's some reason you don't like them, they're definitely more of a West Coast style. It's different than the other stuff. But
although their hazy little thing is a little bit more. That's more of the East Coast,
right?
But yeah, they typically, and they're still technically independent, I believe. They have multiple locations.
They have not been bought up. But aren't Treehouse and Trillium still independent?
Yes.
I'm saying so. And other half is all on its own and independent.
The thing that really I think is amazing about Treehouse and Trillium is that they don't distribute. They may add another location, like Treehouse, I believe, has 6 different locations now. But they don't distribute it at all. And it just ensures that when you go buy their beer at one of their locations, it's always going to be fresh. You don't have to worry. They don't trust these retailers with some of their beers because they don't want them sitting on the shelves. And then somebody buys it a year out of date and they give it a bad review. They're ensuring that everything you get, it's directly from the source, and it's gonna be fresh. It's gonna be It's gonna be quality. So,
yeah, it's a great, but it's a good model, and the fact that you're close to them, at least it's good for you because you can go.
It's great for me, but it does suck for people like you who really appreciate their beer, who love their product, but you can't get their stuff unless somebody sends it to you or you go to the brewery. That's unfortunate because, I mean, their beer is phenomenal and everybody should have access to it. But I understand why they don't want to do that because they want to maintain the integrity and ensure the quality and freshness of their beer. So
right, I have to settle for going to other half, which is okay, and it's
that's not a bad
from there, and they're doing okay. They seem to be doing well, so I don't worry about it.
And some of their beers, like some of their IPAs, are comparable to like the Treehouse stuff, the Trillium stuff, and their barrel stuff is really good. I remember when we went to the brewery, I had one of their barrel aged stouts. You could get like I think it was like 4-ounce pours.
A small pour.
Yeah. One of those, barrel aged stouts that I tried from them was fantastic. And they've always, their stuff is really phenomenal too. But other half, I can get some of their IPAs here. They do distribute a little bit, which is nice because somebody like me would never otherwise be able to get their beer unless you sent them to me or something because it's not, it's not right down the street or anything. So, but other half is pretty good.
During the earlier days before you were married and still living in Georgia, when we had our little deal, when we would send stuff to each other, it was like then the 6 Point, that was before they were acquired. So you were able to get some really off stuff that was more than 14% that you otherwise could have never seen because of Georgia's antiquated laws, which they have not changed, by the way. It's still 14% is the top. And that's crazy.
I'm very thankful that you and Bumpy sent me some of their like the Master Blend stuff before they were bought out and stopped making them because the Master Blend series from 6 Point, some of the best stouts around. They're bourbon barrel.
I missed that. I miss that. We used to go to the source of it in Brooklyn, to their location in Red Hook, and you'd sit around and you would drink it, and it was shocking how good it was. I mean, really. But I guess when a company gets bought out, this is what happens. It's sad, but that's life in the fast lane.
Very interesting and unique. The only brewery or the only bourbon barrel aged stout that I've ever had out of a slim can. Like who puts a bourbon barrel aged stout in a Mick Ultra Slim can? But I mean, fantastic, and it was so different. Like that can design, the slim can, that quality beer, the barrel aged stout. Like if they kept making that beer, I mean, they really.
But see, it reached the point where the guy who owned the company, I guess, decided to take the quick exit. He was tired of it, maybe. Yeah. And whatever. I sent you one of the Jameson barrel aged ones too that they had from that same series too, which I think was 15.4, whatever it was, and that was in the slim can too. So I mean, at least you got to try some of it, and I wish we could still get it, but I guess those days are. We can dream of those days.
Cowboy. When I came to visit you, we tried. I remember trying it the second time. You shared one of those with me when I came to see you.
I still have three. I still have 3 left of that, and 3 left of the what's it called? Black is Beautiful in the vanilla flavored ones. I still have.
You sent me. That's right. You sent me home with a Coquito Cowboy and a Black is Beautiful, and I had already reviewed. Like I didn't do video reviews of them, but I sat. I thoroughly enjoyed those.
You mulled over those cans because those are really quality stuff.
Fantastic,
really good.
And did you notice it? I didn't notice a carbonation issue with the Black is Beautiful can that you gave me, which was nice because after we talked last about it, I was kind of expecting it to be a little flat, but the can that I had, it held up pretty well. It was pretty good.
So it's a hit and miss thing. Some of the cans are not as good as others. I've had ones that didn't have any carbonation issue.
I feel like with the cans, like for whatever reason, the bottles sell better. Like the carbonation, which is weird because you would think the cans would hold up better as far as carbonation, but it seems to be that the bottles maintain carbonation better than the cans, at least in my experience.
I mean, you're sealing the cans, I guess, under pressure when they're sealed, but I guess it can't be complete pressure. And at least on the bottle, when the cap is sealed, it should be probably better. But like you said, yours was good. So, I mean, it's not in all of them, and that's a good thing. I'm happy you got a good one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, you want to wrap this up? We've been going for an hour.
Let's say goodbye. You can stay on and talk if you want. And
we can do that. So we'll just recap really quick. Both Barleywines from Treehouse are getting world class. You gave yours a 98. I gave mine a 99, which in our rating system is as close to perfect as you can get without actually being perfect. I'm really glad that you enjoyed the Tree of Fire, and thank you to all the viewers out there. We had a lot of great comments in the chat. A lot of people commenting and joining us tonight. So cheers to you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. We appreciate you watching. That'll do it for this live examination of Treehouse Barleywines. We're planning on doing a Bourbon County examination next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Alex, if you're around and you want to join, Bumpy, anybody's welcome. But until then, we'll wrap this up. Say cheers to everybody.
Cheers, John. It's been great.
And we'll see you on the next one.